All she wanted was to be a mom. Adoptive parents allegedly murdered by 11-year-old. As police investigate a pair of murders in a tiny New Hampshire town, residents are coming to terms with the shocking nature of the crime. A child is accused of fatally shooting a couple one cloudy Friday morning inside their rural home. The 911 call came around 7:30 a.m. on March 15. Cops arrived. Friends described the couple as healers. They were both health. Lizette and James, who often went by Jim, were also devoted parents to their 15-year-old daughter and adoptive sons, 11 and 13-year-old brothers, according to one friend. After a 2-hour manhunt and lockdown of local schools, investigators had their suspect, an unnamed 11-year-old boy. Police discovered. The New Hampshire Attorney General's office has released few details on the case, citing the confidentiality laws of the juvenile court system. At a press conference last week, Assistant Attorney General Jeffrey Ward was unable to comment on the boy's connection to the victims, although friends of the family believe the alleged shooter was one of the Eckert's sons. I think it goes without saying that this is an incredibly tragic incident with a child involved, a juvenile perpetrator involved and adult victims involved, Ward said. Ward declined to comment on who made the 911 call, what type of weapon was used, how the 11-year-old was identified as a suspect, and whether he was injured. The Alton police, the boy is likely the youngest person to face murder charges in the state's history, they reported. Autopsies revealed both James and Lizette died of a single gunshot to the head. Shortly after the shootings, prosecutors charged the boy with 1 count of second-degree murder and attempted murder. On Tuesday, funeral services for the Eckerts were held Friday at St. Catherine Drexel. Several friends who attended the funeral said even through their grief, the service was largely an upbeat celebration of Jim and Lizette's life and their focus on family. Alton Police Chief Ryan Heath deployed a grief response team to aid anyone who might be struggling following the service. It's been a traumatic. Still, Heath said he was proud of Alton residents for coming together to aid the couple's families, who flew in from across the country. The community help. We are small, Heath said of his town, so it affects all of us. Many of the Eckerts' friends say they didn't see any outward signs of trouble at home. One fellow St. Catherine Drexel, the boys are altar servers. They're just an integral. The revelation. Sam Hollow. While the victims' families have shied from the media, friends and former clients have shared more details on the couple and their kids. Some friends, in interviews with the Daily Beast and in public Facebook comments, said they believed the couple's boys were adopted from Russia. They were just very kind people, one former patient and friend, Margie Sayward, told the Daily Beast. I knew them from Sayward connected with the Eckerts when they ran a clinic in South Portland. She had adopted a son, too, so she often spoke to Lizette about the Eckerts' plans for adoption. I talked to her a lot. When Sayward moved to Florida in 2009, Lizette went out of her way to research new chiropractors for her. It is above and beyond. They were just passionate about the health field, making people feel better, Sayward added. I always felt what Rachel Flinger, who briefly worked for the couple, said they loved life and were passionate about building community. It's a huge lot, she said. Jim took time off to train for an ultramarathon. The father, Flinger, described Lizette as a great role model and mentor and the kind of woman who took you under her wing and really cared about your success. She remembers the Indeed, a 2011 bankruptcy petition shows the couple listed a boat and jet ski as personal property, along with an RV, chiropractic office equipment, and children's toys. They also listed several firearms, 2 Kel-Tec P3AT handguns. A .22. Another friend, Rebecca Miller, mourned Lizette in a series of Facebook comments, saying that all she wanted to be was a mom. Liz waited and put in years of effort to adopt children from Russia. She got them very young, but all she ever wanted were children, Miller wrote, and reiterated this in an interview with the Daily Beast. Miller, a runner herself, bonded with the Eckerts as a client of their main chiropractic office. Lizette was tenacious. Lizette and Jim both liked to laugh and were independent and gregarious, she said. Jim could have Miller said that Lizette especially seemed content in New Hampshire, where she lived off her land and raised animals with her kids, who were homeschooled. The couple's 15, but who knows what kind of struggles she may have had with him, Miller said, referring to the couple's 11-year-old son, who is the presumed shooter and was absent from the funeral. She was so independent. The Eckert children tagged along at Jim's races and were photographed wearing runners' numbers themselves. Their 15-year, Corey Halvorsen, director of coaching at Revolution United, said the Eckerts were very active as a family and belonged to the soccer club for 5 years. They're very outgoing. Jim and Lizette were often spotted on the sidelines for all of their daughters' games. They were a very, very tight-knit family. A lot of things that Halvorsen said he and other parents are grappling with how to discuss the tragedy with their children, and how to support the Eckert family moving forward. He opened a fund. There's kids that have really lost their family and one of their siblings, Halvorsen said, referring to the child who was arrested. I think we need to. Meanwhile, Lizette's mother, Diane Kennedy, to collect donations for the couple's kids. Kennedy wrote that, beyond the primary loss of 2 devoted parents, the cost of education and health care, among many other things, are all burdens that their parents will not be around to shoulder for them, Kennedy said on the site, which has raised more than $24,000. Because the story has been in the news, we are doing all we can to protect the children from excess attention, while still allowing the community that loves them so much and so well to help them in ways that will make a lasting impact, Kennedy wrote.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.